Hey guys, Fluffer with United Operations is going to be doing a quick demo of a what would be a VFR ILS assisted approach straight into Kunsan. I've got my Kunsan chart open. I will post a picture on the top left hand corner, just a reminder for myself of the TAC-in information and the tower frequencies and all that good stuff. And we'll talk about VFR and IFR procedures coming into Kunsan. Generally, you give your call out about 30 miles out, let the tower know that you're inbound, and based off sequencing, they'll give you a land order or where to expect your land order, and as well as instructions how to get vectored into the ILS. Yeah, basically vectors for ILS approaches. That's basically what we're going to do. It's going to be a ILS approach with a VFR on final. Okay, so let's go and take us into game. So this is going to be a day VFR ILS assisted landing, meaning that I'm going to visually land the aircraft, but I'm going to be using ILS assistance to get me vectored onto the base. Let's go and pause it here and talk about a couple things that I'm going to be doing. First off is setting the frequency for the tower, which you can go by hitting COM1. UHF 292.30. That's for Kunsan. And then next, setting up your ILS, which is, if you go back, if you didn't see what I was, if you're on the main DED screen here, by hitting return, it'll take you back to that page. You hit 1, that'll take you to your TAC-in page, and go and input the frequency for the runway, which is 110.3, and the ILS TAC-in, which is 075 X-ray, and the course heading, which is actually 18, which I'll need to adjust here momentarily. Alright, so let's go and change that right now. 180 for 18. And from this point, it's going to orient us on 180. Let me go turn on the HMCS. I like to cheat like that. Master arm off to be always safe. And our initial approach is going to be at 5,000 feet, 317 knots. I'll contact the tower and let them know that we're inbound. And then from there, I will follow the respective steer points that would be for my steer 1 to home plate. And then they'll give me ILS vectors in. Alright, which I probably won't use, generally because the AI is dumb.
Cowboy 1-1, inbound for
So there's my inbound call.
Cowboy 1-1, descend to 3,000.
So descending down to
30 knots.
3,000.
Heading 180.
Alright, told me to turn to 180, 230 knots and descend to 3,000 feet, which is what I'm doing. 180 is roughly that heading. Slow down. 4,000 feet.
Cowboy 1-1, maintain 250
Switch to the ILS
knots.
nav knob.
Turn right heading 175. Vectors to final, runway 36.
ILS should be coming on here momentarily. There we go. Alright, so if you notice that just now, the ILS had that across, and now it's giving me a horizontal and a vertical line. Alright, so our main goal here is to try to keep those two squares, or those two lines intersected like a perfect cross with a flight path marker right in the middle. If I shoot for this center circle, it should take me there, and I also need to maintain 3,000 feet with the instructions that the tower has given me.
Cowboy 1-1, turn right heading 180.
Alright, it's telling me to turn right 180. Still not the 3,000 feet. We'll go nose over. Actually, I don't think I'll make it now if I don't start my turn left. I'll trust the tower. Alright, so we're level 3,000 feet. There's the steering cue there. Another.
Cowboy 1-1, maintain 250 knots.
Alright, so maintain 250, 265. A little fast, we can hold this. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Let's go and start intercepting this steer line here.
Cowboy 1-1, turn right heading 180.
This is why the tower is pretty dumb in this game. Alright, there we go. 250. Put the little circle in the flight path marker. You can never get it wrong. A little strong gust there to maintain 3,000 feet.
Cowboy 1-1, maintain 260
See that circle's moving?
knots. Turn right heading 185.
So I'm fighting to keep that in center mass of the flight path marker. Start my approach speeds now, 270, under 300 knots. I'm going to go and drop the gear as well. Looking for 3 green.
Cowboy 1-1, climb to 3,000, maintain 260 knots. Turn right heading 190, vectors to final, runway 36.
We're not going to be climbing to 3,000. Disregarding tower rolls, I'll be taking over visually, ILS assisted.
Cowboy 1-1, maintain 270 knots. Turn right heading 190.
Alright, so I'm pretty much right on the money right now. Flight path marker is right over the steer circle. As long as I maintain 160 knots, 170 knots, I'm at a good
Cowboy
descent rate.
1-1, maintain 280 knots. Turn right heading
Alright, we're going to tell
190.
this tower to
Cowboy 1-1.
disregard. So this is about as standard as an approach can get. Keeping the flight path marker in the circle. It's going to get us right on target. Target's airspeed's about 150 knots, depending on how much wind that we're encountering. Call for winds. As you notice here, the AOA indexer, which is this little ladder, will start to fall in the middle of this aircraft, which is what we want. And as you notice, the AOA indexer on the left hand side is green, which means that we're in good glide path. A little slow correcting up to 150 knots. As you notice, it is now, it looks like we're a little low. We'll go and climb up. A little high, actually. Let's go and sit down. There we go, keeping that center flight path marker happy. And then hopefully by this time, if you're in weather, you would be breaking out of the clouds and you would be able to see short final of the runway, okay? But we're doing a visual approach, and this is ILS assisted just for practice, holding 160 knots and keeping the flight path marker generally at the 3-degree mark, which is this guy right here. Flight path marker is now in the center circle of the steer marker, and the AOA indexer is on the left hand side. So as long as we can align all 3 of those, it should put us on good glide path to the runway. Constantly adjusting the throttle. There's a little dip. Holding 160 knots, trying to keep that meatball happy. Once we break about 150 feet, we'll start to bring the throttle back. A little high, correcting. Throttle out. Hopefully I would be visually taking over now, which I am. But there's a flare. Looking for 130 knot touchdown. There we go.
Cowboy
Perfect.
1-1, Kunsan Tower. Next time, get clearance before landing.
She's not too happy about that. And there she goes. That's all she wrote, guys. That's an ILS approach, ILS assisted VFR approach. We'll be transitioning over to the weather scenario. Alright guys, so had a little hiccup with the scenario there. Actually had us on a 3-6 final. We're going to be going to a 1-8 final. Previously, as I showed you guys how to set up the ILS, that's the gist of it. We're on 110.30 for Kunsan's runway frequency, and the final course setting is 180. We're looking at 075 X-ray for the TACAN, and we're just going to be following this all the way through with radar vectors from the tower, or from approach.
Heading 165, vectors to final, runway 18.
Told us to descend down to 2,000. Speed brakes are out.
Cowboy 11, maintain maximum forward speed. Turn left heading 160.
160. Alright, let's level off at 2,000.
Cowboy 11, maintain 250 knots. Turn right heading 160.
Turn left to 160.
Cowboy 11,
ILS is active.
turn right heading 165.
Right to 165.
Cowboy 11, execute missed approach. Clearance canceled. Vector 210. Contact approach when able or divert to your alternate.
Alright, cool. So the ILS is active. We're 1,000 feet AGL. Still really high. Should be breaking through the clouds here pretty soon. Feet and descending. Try to maintain that meatball positioning within the steer line, command steer line. Clear command steer circle. Fast, correcting. Power's out. Back in 160 knots as the goal. 500 feet AGL, should be breaking out of the clouds here momentarily, or the fog. Still on good runway heading here. Should be seeing some steer lines here. 350 feet AGL, fast correcting, throttles out, back to 160. Alright, cool. Runway's in sight. There's the localizer. 3 degrees down. Throttles out for the flare. Visually taking over. Sync rate is good. 130 knot touchdown.
Cowboy 11, clearance on tower. Next time, get clearance before landing.
That was a really heavyweight landing too.